Stepping into the polished shoes of a suited sociopath is one of the few twisted treats that video games like Hitman Absolution can provide, and even though gamers have been joyously killing all manners of creatures ever since Mario sprung into the air and squished his very first Goomba, few deliver the delight of death as effectively and as originally as IO Interactive's Hitman series. The game made killing an art form, not a meaningless carefree pull of a trigger. It focused on the primordial relationship of the hunter and the hunted, and specifically the thrill of the hunt. How you disposed of your victims was entirely of your own volition. You could be as loud as the crack of thunder, or as silent as a shadow. Would you massacre those who stood in your way, or rely on your fiber wire? Or you could just avoid confrontation entirely. Hitman encouraged initiative and gave the player the freedom to do so. After a 6-year absence, the smartly dressed contract killer has returned to deliver his signature brand of homicide. But has Agent 47 been out of the game too long? Does Hitman Absolution cough and sputter like a garroted victim? Or is 47's long-awaited return a perfectly executed hit? Absolution departs from the static vignettes and minimalist storylines of the previous games, introducing fully fledged cutscenes and even continuity between levels. Unfortunately, the game inherently suffers because of this decision to pursue a meaningful plot. 47 is assigned his biggest contract yet: dispose of his handler, Diana Burnwood. Recently turned rogue, the woman is exposing the agency from within, and vanishes amongst the confusion with one of the agency's key assets, a young girl named Victoria. Bound by contractual duty and years of habitual killing, he accepts the mission, and spends most of the game protecting Victoria from the hands of the agency, a decision heavily influenced by common ground the two share. He too has been subjected to the horrors of various scientists and devious doctors. A dark cast of distasteful individuals and sinister souls litter Absolution's tedious plot, and at times it makes for uncomfortable viewing. Credit goes to the voice actors, who convincingly portray each member of Absolution's underbelly of vile villains with aplomb. Frustratingly, the game is laden with cutscenes, sometimes even robbing you of the elation of a hard-worked kill at the end of level. Hitman games have always thrived on the fact that each level and contracted hit was essentially a blank canvas. Absolution is heavily focused on stealth action. Yes, the dreaded action word is applicable here. The game features a modern-day slick cover system a la Uncharted and 90% of games on the market, enabling 47 to sleuth like never before. As an essential gameplay element, the cover system works admirably. And so it should, as you better get used to being pinned against or crouched behind a wall. Because unless you're wearing a disguise, which is still susceptible to being blown by those who share the same uniform, it's impossible to roam freely around the levels without alerting unwanted attention. As soon as you step into a hostile or trespassing zone, you have to be hidden from sight, as the AI have fearsome eagle eyes and can ruin your hard work in a cruel, unpredictable instant. An indicator will point to the vague direction of prying eyes, but unless you can quickly disappear in time, with the window of opportunity sometimes a matter of split seconds, your perfect score will be scuppered. This wouldn't be too much of an issue if the game didn't feature such a disastrous broken checkpoint system. Unavailable on higher difficulties, 3 checkpoint beacons are scattered around the levels in the most obtuse locations imaginable. You'll have to make substantial progress into a level to find them, and it's more than likely you'll be apprehended multiple times along the way. You gotta be perfect. Consequently, the game deters you from experimenting and taking risks, as the price you pay is just too great to justify messing up. You'll still have to make choices throughout the game with alternative routes and solutions readily available, but most of these will involve figuring out the best way of getting past unseen. Distractions, timing, and avoidance are the key themes to almost every level. Chuck a glass bottle at a wall, sabotage a generator, turn on a radio. The art of killing has been usurped by the art of distraction. If you tire at the stealth route, you can always whip out your weapons and unleash bloody havoc, as the game is an able third-person shooter. Weapons are varied and deadly, with Agent 47 able to utilize point shooting, a slow-motion execution-style system, similar to that of Splinter Cell Conviction's mark and execute mechanic. Activating Instinct allows you to detect the heat signatures of nearby enemies, their predicted routes, and context-sensitive objects in the surrounding area. It can also be used to shield your face from highly suspicious enemies should you stray too close. In essence, it's a crutch for players to lean on. But don't worry, hardcore players, on Purist mode, there is no Instinct. Well, God help you if you choose to go down that route. In-game challenges promote the player choice ethos, with viable alternatives hinted at, encouraging replayability and natural competition thanks to the game's ranking system. Complete a challenge successfully and you'll receive a small multiplier to your score. Absolution looks glorious too. The Glacier 2 proprietary graphics engine is an absolute marvel, bringing with it sensational visuals, atmosphere. Environments are alive, littered with detail and believable NPCs, and the reconstruction of Hitman's typical gritty world feels rotten to the core. Luckily, the upgraded tech is not just used to improve the shine of 47's bald head. The highlight is the crowd technology, a la Assassin's Creed, another staple of recent Hitman games. Fluid animations enhance every action you perform. The natural swing of 47's iconic red tie, the garroting of a victim, dragging their corpse to the nearest dumpster. The overuse of bloom can be noticeably excessive at times, but the graphics and sound are still grade A. The game suffers from its fair share of worrying wobbles, but in an industry which is stubbornly resolute on churning out the same worn and weary formulas year after year, IO's attempt to reinvent and adapt a franchise adored by such a hardcore fanbase should be commended, not harshly reprimanded. Absolution misses that top mark, but the original Assassin can still be killer company.